Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello. It's Tuesday, and here we are live all together. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for being a part of our little group here. Got a couple things going on. First of all, have you seen our new energy course? It's out there, and you are more than welcome to go take a peek-see at it. This is a self-led course. There's 8 classes to it, all with a video teaching and a workbook that goes with the course. I think it's turned out pretty good. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm proud to share it with you. If you go to savingdinner.com/energy, you can find all the details. But, this is one of those things where, our energy is suddenly different, and the way we think about things, the way we recover from exercise and all the rest of it, things change. And my point of view is that we can find that energy again. We do have it inside. We're just maybe going to have to change things up a little bit. There's a lot of different parts to energy, and that's what this course is all about. So I'm pleased to share that with you. The other thing to know is that we are big on freezer meals. We have a freezer meal bundle that is just chocked full of freezer meals, and we're sharing this because, if we have a default mechanism where we can fall back, instead of falling back to the drive-through or, running into the grocery store to get a rotisserie chicken, we've got something in the freezer. It's fantastic. So you can find out all about, this is a mega ebook sale. And we do these freezer meals in sessions, and the way that they're done and the way that they're cooked up and all of that, they taste fresh. They don't taste like somebody's giving you a bunch of reheated, frozen food. Miss Nancy, cheers to you, my girl. Cheers to you. Anyway, so good to see you. The other thing that you need to know is this. A really good quote of the week. I like this one a lot. It's, when we strive to become better, then better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Isn't that good? I love that. And it just really dovetails nicely into what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm excited about that. So you ready? Let's buckle up and get into the law of relativity. And I know we all think, immediately, what are you thinking? Einstein, right? But the law of relativity is basically, I say, it's a practical guide to shifting your perspective. And listen, we all have moments in our lives when we feel overwhelmed. Amen. It's true. And when challenges seem insurmountable, we oftentimes go, why is this so difficult? However, this is where the law of relativity comes into play, because it's one of the universal laws, but it's deeply rooted in psychology, neuroscience, and even physics. So when you understand that this law can radically shift how you see your circumstances and help you apply it to create a more empowered, fulfilling life, that's when things start to click. So what is the law of relativity besides what Einstein said? Well, the law of relativity states that everything in life is neutral until you compare it to something else. So essentially, nothing has meaning on its own. It's only when we place it in relation to something else that it gains its significance. Okay, so just let me give you some examples because I mean, you're probably going, what are you talking about? Hey, Trish, I'm glad you're here. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. A hard workout feels easy compared to Navy SEALs training, for example, or a small paycheck might be life-changing in another part of the world, or a minor inconvenience feels massive until you see somebody facing a real hardship. So, and we've heard this, everything is relative. Our perception of events, success, happiness, struggle is all based on what we compare it to, because we all do it. And this law, by the way, isn't just some abstract spiritual principle. It's a powerful mental framework that can help us reframe challenges. Linda, hello. I'm glad you're here. And break out of limiting beliefs and shift our focus toward gratitude and growth, right? And there's science behind it. And that's what I always look for, because to me, if there is science behind something, then this is something I can use in my life because it's proven. So the first one is that there's psychology of comparison. This is how the human brain is wired. It's wired to compare. And what they call this is what psychologists call the social comparison theory. This is how we make sense of the world. And this was first proposed by a guy named Leon Festinger in 1954. We assess our abilities and self-worth by measuring ourselves against others. But here's the problem. Lynn, hello. I'm glad you're here. Comparison is a double-edged sword. How many times have you heard me say comparison is a thief of joy? I mean, you've heard that before, but I say it all the time to remind myself not to compare, right? But this is how it's a double-edged sword, by the way. The upward comparison, like comparing ourselves to those who are better than we are, have more than we are, blah, blah, blah. We can use that to inspire growth, but it can also make us feel inadequate, versus the downward comparison, looking at those who are worse off. It can make us feel grateful, but it could also foster complacency and maybe putting the others down. So if we look at this then and say, but we do this, it's an automatic, this is how our brains work. How do we then use this to understand this law of relativity and make it work for us? This is the key. Using comparison to gain perspective and not diminish yourself. It's all about perspective. That makes it better, doesn't it? And there's neuroscience of perception too, because your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It's constantly interpreting new experiences in relation to what it already knows. So scientists have found that our expectations are literally shaping our reality. So here's an example. And I know you've seen this one. They had a study in Stanford, and they found that wine tastes better if people believe it's more expensive. And guess what? It was all the same wine. They just slapped on a fancier label and had a cork as opposed to the screw top, but it was all the same thing. And research on pain perception shows that people feel less discomfort if they're told it's mild compared to severe. Expectations shift and change. So this proves that our experiences aren't just about what happens, right? They're also about how we interpret what happens. Everything's relative. Then Einstein, of course he has to show up in this, because physics backs this up as well. Einstein's theory of relativity is about how time and space are perceived differently depending on your perspective. This applies to the physics of the universe, and it also offers a very powerful metaphor, because your life circumstances are not fixed. They change depending on how you look at them. The way you experience time, struggle, and success is all relative to the lens you use. So that's all well and good, but then what are we going to do with this, right? Well, we've got to apply it. That's how it works. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 things for you. This is a good place to take notes, but because This will help you out. I know it will. This has been really helpful for me. The first thing is that we need to reframe our challenges. So we have to stop looking at struggles and saying this is a complete barrier. It's an obstacle. It's going to take, it's not going to make my life better at all. It's going to just block everything. Instead, we need to view them as tests of strength designed to help you grow. So, for example, a financial setback. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm failing, this is terrible, I'm in financial ruin. No, you reframe it instead of this is a lesson in resourcefulness and perseverance. These are lessons I need to learn. So we need to do that with everything. That just makes such a huge difference, because otherwise we put ourselves into a corner and we don't see a way out. When we reframe it like this, we do see a way out. We see things that can change for us. Number 2 is practice perspective shifting. So if you feel overwhelmed, step back and ask, these are great questions, by the way, who might see this as an opportunity? Or how will the situation look a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And what if I decided to see this as an opportunity myself? Can you imagine how much I would learn from this guy? Ask yourself those kind of questions. This offers a grand buffet of solution. And then you're also going to look at this and be absolutely amazed at how small your current stressors seem when you zoom out. Number 3 is to shift from comparison to appreciation. This is such a good thing to do. So if you catch yourself in negative comparison, flip it to gratitude. So here we go. This is something I've done this. You've done this. She's so much more successful than me. What if we said instead, her success shows me what's actually possible. And it's possible for me too. That's huge. That's a big flip. And it's something that we need to hold on to and use all the time. That comparison is something that is positive and is going to help us. We can also use contrast thinking to boost motivation. So if you want to make your goals feel easier, for example, compare them to something harder. For example, if you decide you're going to run a 5K and it's feeling tough and you're doing all the training, then think for a minute about ultra marathoners. These are guys who run 100 miles. They're not marathoners. They're running 100 miles. Then that 5K is going to seem instantly way more doable. Also, number 5, last one, is to embrace challenges as growth opportunities. Listen, everything you go through is relative to what you've been through before. What once seemed impossible may soon feel like your new normal. Your struggles now are preparing you for future success. That's it, for future success. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this idea that you're always in control of your perspective, because you are. The law of relativity reminds us that our reality is shaped by how we compare and interpret our experiences. And when we consciously shift our perspective, we unlock a whole new way of living. And that's one filled with gratitude, empowerment, and unstoppable growth. So the next time you face a challenge, ask yourself this: what if this is happening for me and not to me? How can I reframe this in a way that empowers me? And what perspective will help me move forward? Because at the very end, everything in life is relative, and you get to choose the lens in which you see it. It is that simple. Hi, Jocelyn, by the way. And Jane, goodness, I didn't even see you there. Hi, Jane. I hope that was helpful for you, because, at the end, here's the thing. We all do this. We all compare, even though we know comparison is the thief of joy, we still do it. What if we flipped some of this a little bit and changed our perspective? That's all this is about. I hope it was helpful for you. Pinky's up to you too, Miss Nancy. Thank you for sharing that with me, by the way. And I hope to see you. By the way, Go get your freezer menus and get your freezer full. That's an order. I'm telling you, no more drive-throughs, no more convenience foods, no more frozen gross stuff. You need fresh food. I'm going to show you how to make it. It's so easy, so wonderful, and such a convenient thing to have as your option B. I love that. Having food done like that, cool stuff, right? And the very last thing too that I would mention is the energy self-led course. I put a lot into this. There's a lot of research and a lot of real takeable, actionable information. You can find out about it at savingdinner.com/energy. Yes, ma'am, says Lynn. So thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. You know that. And I wish you a wonderful Tuesday. See you the rest of the week. And have a great rest of the week, that is. And I will see you next week. Peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.